Okay, everyone, if you're just coming in, make sure to have your microphone off and your camera turned on. And please start your do now on slides 4 and 5. When you are finished, please let me know that you have finished in the chat and stop on slide 6. Please let me know in the chat. Take a second to let me know if you are finished or if you are not finished. So if you're finished, please type finished. If you're not finished, please type not finished. Great. I see all of us have answered or attempted the problem. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for that. So I have confirmation from everybody. I know you're ready to learn if we are in view of our camera. So if I can see you in your camera, I know that you're tracking me. So make sure you're in view so I can see you. Thank you, Britza. Thank you, Jordy. Thank you, Hugo. Thank you, Emmeline. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Tian. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Yasmin. I'm going to find the value of water to sugar. So in our table, though, it is sugar to water. So first I need to flip those. In order to do this, I can actually use any of those ratios. So I can show you that we can use any of these equivalent ratios and I will get the same value because we know the value is the same for ratios that are equivalent. So what I want you to do in the chat, I want you to I'm going to put this in the chat for a second, and you're going to just type this back to me. Equivalent ratios have the same value. So type that back to me so I know that you're tracking me and we understand that all equivalent ratios have the same value. Thank you, Britza. Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Julian. So Hugo, it's equivalent ratios have the same value. Equivalent ratios have the same value. And all of these are ratios in this table. Great, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Darlene. Thank you, Emmeline. Great job, everybody. Thank you for letting me know in the chat. Okay, we are ready to learn. So I'm going to use any of these values. So I'll take 2 participants. So Casey, pick one of the ratios for me, and then Yasmin, pick another ratio for me that we're going to use.
4:2.
Okay, so we're going to use 4:2. So Casey said we're going to use the 4:2 ratio from the table. Yasmin, what's another ratio you want to use?
5.
Did you say 10:5? Thumbs up if you said that. Okay, awesome. 10:5. Thank you, Yasmin. All right, so we're going to use these two. We need to convert it to water to sugar. So it's going to be 2:4, or we're going to use 5:10. We're going to do some division. So Casey, since you picked 2:4, what are we going to divide by to get the value?
We're gonna divide by 2.
Why?
I noticed this part. If you see the second number 2, if you multiply by 2, it turns into 4. If you multiply
I lost you on that one in the Zoom space. Sorry about that. I know it's your Wi-Fi. You are correct. We're going to divide by 2. So we'll start off with that. So I'm going to just put a 2 under here. I'm going to divide by 2. And I'm going to divide by 2. And in the chat, we're going to take those. And that's going to become 1 to 2. And that's our value, 1 to 2. This means for every 1 cup of water, there are 2 cups of sugar. Now, Yasmin, talk me through yours, 5 to 10. What should I divide by to get the value 1 to 2?
you should divide 5 by 5 And 10 divided by 5 also.
Okay, and what do I get? For 5 divided by 5 is?
1,
And 10 divided by 5 is?
2.
Notice we get the same exact value. 1 to 2. I could have done this with 30 to 15. I could have done this with 14 to 7, and I would still have gotten the same value, guys. So you take this value. We know that 1 represents the water. We're doing water to sugar. So we know that the first one was 2 to 4. We divided by 2, and we got 1 to 2. So it's water to sugar. Let me put the little arrow to that. This is water. This is sugar. Okay, so because this is water, that means for every 1 cup of water, there are 2 cups of sugar. 2 cups of sugar. Make sure you've updated your Pear Deck. I'll give you about a minute to copy this in, and then I'll know you're ready when you have typed in the chat that you're ready to move on to the next slide. So I'm going to take this ratio, 15 to 10. I'm going to convert it to water to sugar. So 10 of water, 15 of sugar. I want to find the value by dividing, Heidi. What number should I use?
Divide by, I think you divide by.
If you guys know, please put it in the chat. Well, what numbers can go into 10 and 15, Heidi?
5.
5. So let's try dividing by 5. So what's 10 divided by 5 and 15 divided by 5, Heidi?
2, 3.
So we have this. This becomes 2 to 3. Absolutely correct, Heidi. We have, and what does the 2 represent, Heidi? The water or the sugar?
Represents the water.
Okay. And what represents the sugar?
3.
Perfect. So we know that 2 is water, 3 is sugar. So how much sugar would 1 cup of water have?
3.
Yep, perfect. So we know that 2 is water, 3 is sugar. So how much sugar would 1 cup of water have? Britza, what sentence should I put here? Thank you for typing in the chat. So if you guys know what the last word is, please let me know. Everybody's typing sugar. Thank you. Appreciate that. Now the question said 1 cup of water. So if you wanted to get 1 cup of water, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this is going to be a decimal, but you would divide this by 2, and that becomes 1. And then you also do that, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. And from yesterday, as a review of decimals and mixed fractions, this is 1 and 1/2. Oh, I'm going to get rid of that one. So this is 1 and 1/2. So for every 1 cup of water, there are 1.5 cups of sugar. So I'll also put that in the text. For every 1 cup of water, there are 1.5 cups of sugar. Take a second to copy that in. I'll know you are finished when you let me know in the chat that you finished copying this in. And as Stephanie, thank you for being ahead in the math with 1.5. 1.5 is true. Thank you. Thank you, Casey, for letting me know you copied it in. Thank you, Yasmin, for letting me know you copied it in. No worries, Angel. Just keep hustling through. You're doing fine. Thank you, Julian, for letting me know that you finished. Thank you, Stephanie, for letting me know you finished. Thank you, Britza, for letting me know you finished. Thank you, Darlene, Yesenia, for letting me know you finished. Thank you, Emmeline and Angel, for letting me know you finished. Thank you guys as a class for using the chat, especially with all the Wi-Fi issues going on. This is awesome. Thank you, everybody, for putting in the chat that we're ready to move on. And I know we're ready to learn now. So let's get a reader for the objective. I'll take a volunteer for this one. Jordy volunteered. Perfect. I saw your hands up, Jordy. Thank you.
I will use a value of a ratio to the solve by written.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're using the value of a ratio today to problem solve by writing and solving equations. So we're taking the value of a ratio, which is that reduced fraction, and we're going to use that to solve problems by writing and solving what's called equations. So I saw some of you attempted this. Thank you very much for doing so. So I'll need a reader for the prompt. Stephanie, can you read the prompt for us?
George is making a special shade of orange paint. He mixes 1 gallon of red paint with 3 gallons of yellow paint. Based on the information on red and yellow paint, complete the table below.
Awesome. Thank you for reading. I appreciate you, Stephanie. So we're going to find out this special shade of orange paint. It's mixed by 1 gallon of red, 3 gallons of yellow. I'm gonna annotate that, guys. So everybody should be annotating their Pear Deck. So Jordy, make sure we're annotating. We're gonna do 1 gallon of red. So 1 gallon of red. I'll use a different color with 3 gallons. Oh, you know what? I should probably make this make sense. 1 gallon of red and 3 gallons of yellow. We even have a picture to show that. Here's the yellow, and here is the red. So we're gonna use the information from this table that starts us off. But before we start, the value is actually already in this table for us. In the chat, I want you to tell me what the value of this table is. It's a ratio. So tell me the ratio, which is the value that made this table. Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you, Britza. You are correct. That is the value. Heidi Nunez and Evelyn Juarez, the number 5. The value is a ratio. It's the ratio that made this table. So it's actually 2 numbers. It's something to something. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Angel. Angel, good fix. So it's a ratio, something to something. Angel actually put it in the chat for everybody. Exactly. It's 1 to 3. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. It's 1 to 3. So this value, I'm going to actually put that here, that this is the value. Okay. So that's our value. If you notice, it's for every 1 gallon of red paint, there are 3 gallons of yellow paint. And then it says the relationship. This relationship says 3 equals 1 times 3. So from the objective, this relationship is our equation because there's an equal sign. So equation has to have an equal sign. This equation tells me how this table was made. And if we look at this, this translates to, this means 3 gallons of yellow equals 1 gallon of red times 3. So this equation is telling us 3 gallons of yellow equals 1 gallon of red times 3. We're going to complete this next part of the chart. We don't have to write these words after this, but I do need you to put this in for the first one. This is going to be money for your exit ticket. We're going to make sure that we're 100% complete today. It's Friday. I want everybody to get an A. This is going to be the money that's going to help you out for that exit ticket. So make sure we have everything copied into your Pear Deck. I'll give you about a minute before we move on. Also, as always, please make sure that when this is completely copied into your Pear Deck, that you let me know you're finished in the chat so we can move on and finish this slide. Thank you, Julian and Heidi Nunez, for letting me know that you finished copying this in the chat. Thank you, Britza, for letting me know that you finished. And Casey, thank you as well for letting me know you finished in the chat. Thank you, Darlene. I appreciate that. Almost ready to start our learning again. Awesome. Thank you, Heidi Hernandez. I appreciate you. Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you, Angel. I appreciate all of you. We're going to fill out the rest of this chart. So if you notice, this is just like our other ratio tables. When we create equivalent ratios, there's a pattern already. 1 on the left, 3 on the right. So what I want you as a class to do is start filling out this table. So we know that the first one here is going to be 3, and this one's going to be 4. Figure out this value for yellow and this one here for yellow. And let me know in the chat when you've put that in your table. Thank you, Darlene, for letting me know. Thank you, Hugo. Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you, Britza. Britza said that the yellow paint is going by 3, meaning it's skip counting or repeated addition by the number 3. So that should help out everybody with their second part of the table. It is skip counting by 3. Thank you, Britza. It looks like everybody's done. Very nice, everybody. This is awesome. Great class today. Move on now. So now we're going to look at the equations. So remember, the first one, I'm going to fill this out first with you. So this is 15 and this is 6. This is review for you. This is you guys are doing well with these ratio tables. We're going to look at this relationship. So for the first one, we said 3 gallons of yellow paint equals 1 gallon of red times 3. We're going to do the same here for here. So Casey, how many gallons of yellow should I put first?
6.
6 gallons of yellow. And can you say it in words what I'm going to write?
Um, 6 gallons of yellow equals 2 gallons of red paint.
2 gallons of red paint.
Yeah.
Times what? 2 gallons of red times
3.
Yeah, 3. Perfect. Let's fill that in. Please put this in the chat. So if you know this multiplication one, please put that in the chat. So Julian, can you help me find out the next relationship verbally while everybody in the chat starts placing it? And thank you, Yasmin and Jordy. Thank you. I know you got logged off, but thank you. So I want to talk about this in terms of paint. So we're going to use the first example where it said 3 gallons of yellow equals 1 gallon of red times 3. So I want you to verbally tell me in that order, but using this next ratio.
4 gallons of paint times 12 gallons of yellow paint.
Read the prompt again. Check it out.
12 gallons of yellow paint times 4 gallons of red paint.
We have 12 gallons of yellow, but look at that word specifically, what it says. Where it says 3 gallons of yellow, blank, 1 gallon of red times 3.
12 gallons of yellow equals 4 gallons of red times 4, right? Or
almost. Because look, you see the equation I wrote? 12 equals 4, and then if you said 4 gallons of red times 4, well, what's 4 times 4?
16.
So would that make sense? 12 is not 16, right? So would that work? What number instead of 4 would we have to use?
3.
3. And if you notice, that's the pattern from the rest of the table. Oops. Times 3. Thank you, Julian. I appreciate that. So, Britza, can you help me explain the last relationship? I'm assuming you're using the chat. Oh, Hugo, you got it as well. Thank you, Britza. Thank you, Hugo. I'll let you guys actually take a second to tell me in the chat. Thank you, Britza. I appreciate that. So far, Hugo, Britza, and Yasmin, you guys got it 100% correct. Now in the chat, if you've already told me, tell me what the 15 represents and tell me what the 5 represents. Casey says 5 represents the red paint. Very nice. 15 is the yellow paint. You are correct, Darlene, and Stephanie and Casey. Good job. So this last equation, what we're saying is that the way we got 15 gallons of yellow paint is that we took 5 gallons of red paint and multiplied that 3 times. And that's how we get 15 gallons of yellow paint. So these are equations to represent this. So now we're going to write a ratio that describes the number of red paint to yellow paint, 1 to 3. That's our value that starts off this whole table. So update your Pear deck accordingly. Emmeline, make sure you're tracking. So write down the ratio that describes the number of red paint to the number of yellow paint. When you have finished typing all this in, we're going to move on to the next slide. And thank you, Britza, for letting me know you finished. Thank you, Jordy, for letting me know you finished in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for letting me know that we finished in the chat. All right, we're moving on. So keep this red paint and yellow paint example in mind. I'm going to put this on student pace because we need to go flip back and forth. So make sure you're tracking, Jordy. Make sure you're tracking Darlene. Make sure you're tracking Hugo. Make sure you're tracking Emmeline and Angel, because we're going to need to go on to student paste. And I'm going to need you to make sure that you're going between slides 7 and 8. We're going to start student pace, 7 and 8. So on slide 7, see, this is why we need to make sure we're on slide 7. And we're going to use this information for this next slide. We're going to say how is the amount of yellow paint related to the amount of red paint? We set it in the table before. The amount of yellow paint is, and then we have to talk about the red paint times something. So Angel, what are you going to help me finish the sentence with? The amount of yellow paint is. I heard the red, but I couldn't hear the rest. Can you type it in the chat? Thank you, Angel. I appreciate that. If you guys know how to finish the sentence, please type it in the chat as well. And I'm going to take the word is out. I'm going to put equals the red. So if you look at the slides, what did we do for every single one of these to the red paint? We took the red paint and we did something to it. So the amount of yellow paint equals the Yasmin put the amount of yellow paint equals exactly, Yasmin. The amount of yellow paint equals the red paint times 3. That is absolutely correct. Now, if we think of the opposite of that, though, the amount, let's think of opposite of multiplication now. So the amount of red paint equals the yellow paint. And then what's the opposite of multiplication? Thank you, Angel, for answering in the chat. Thank you, Yasmin. Yeah, oh, Yasmin, thank you for finishing the sentence. Jordy, what's the opposite of multiplication? And if you know as well, please put it in the chat. The opposite of multiplication. I actually was able to hear that. So the amount of red paint equals the yellow paint divided by 3. Write 2 equations that show the relationship between the 2 paint colors. So we're going to write our first equation. So how much red paint he needs for any amount of yellow paint? Yellow. So yellow equals red times 3. And how much yellow paint he needs for any amount of red paint? So red is equal to yellow divided by 3. You can also put the division symbol, which is that symbol. So given the similarities to our exit ticket from this independent practice slide, I want you to first fill out this table for me. So if you notice, the first one is done for you. It says during the first 5 minutes of Melody's road trip, she sees 18 cars and 6 trucks. Well, here's the 18 for the cars and here is the 6 trucks. You're going to have to use some division to figure out how to get to 1. But I can give you a hint. Divide 6 by 6, that'll give you 1. And whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So take 18 divided by 6, and that'll give you the numbers for the cars here. So take a second to try to fill out this table, and let me know in the chat when you're finished. Okay, everybody, I see a plethora of answers. Some of you have seen the multiplication pattern. Some of you are trying to do what we did in previous tables, which is just skip counting. Unfortunately, that's not going to work for this one because there's no true skip count on this one. So we're going to review this. So if we knew that she sees 18 cars and 6 trucks, that's one of the ratios they gave us. So here's the 6 trucks, here's the 18 cars. What multiplication problem was used to create this? Well, this was 6 times 3 equals 18. You're going to use this same pattern to finish this table. So we're going to take the same pattern. So we're going to take for the first one. And then you're going to find out the cars here. And some of you already put this. This is 3. Use the rest of this, these answers. So 3 times 3 is going to give you the next answer. And this one you're going to need to use division because there's no number to multiply here. So you're going to have to say what number, question mark, times 3 equals 60. So fill in your table and let me know in the chat when you're done. I see everybody's already updated their slide. So we noticed that this was 20 because 20 times 3 is 60. This number here was 36 because 12 times 3 is 36. This was 9. I saw everybody updated this. So thank you as a class. You guys did amazing. We're going to now write the equations. So some of you wrote them as ratios. We're actually going to write equations. Equations, if you can remember from the do now, have an equal sign. So equations have to have an equal sign. So there's going to be 2 equations. We're first going to find the one for cars. And then we're going to find the one for trucks. So if you know what equation gives us cars, please type it in the chat or raise your hand so I can type it in so we can move on to our exit ticket. Stephanie, can you let me know what you put on yours for cars?
For cars, 3 equals 3 times 1.
3 equals 3 times 1. Wait, can you say that one more time?
I'm going to say it backwards. 1 times 3 equals 3.
1 times 3 equals 3. Okay, but I want to talk, the math is perfect. You're absolutely correct. But I want to talk about it in terms of cars equals something times something. So what am I multiplying for cars? For any of the cars?
3.
Okay. 3 times what?
Times 1.
Well, you also did 3 times 3, 3 times 6, 3 times 12, and 3 times 20. So what do those numbers represent? Those are the amount of what?
The cars?
Almost opposite. Look in the table where it says 1, 3, 6, 12, and 20. What are those? Those are the
Trucks.
Yeah. So it's the cars are the trucks times 3.
If I just need to put it backwards, like 1 times 3.
It's the trucks times 3. Right? And then for the trucks is equal to the opposite of that. What word is going to be here? Okay, Yasmin, what word? I think everybody's Wi-Fi is down today. If you can put in the chat what word, oh, I should have looked at the chat. All of you actually put cars divided by, thank you, Yasmin, divided by 3. So to find out the cars, we took the trucks times 3, right? 1 truck times 3 equals 3 cars. 3 trucks times 3 equals 9 cars. 6 trucks times 3 equals 18 cars, so on and so forth. And if you go backwards, 3 cars divided by 3 equals the trucks. And the trucks here equals 9 divided by 3, which gives you 3. That gives you the other trucks. So it's backwards, right? When you go from right to left, it's division. Left to right, it's multiplication. You're going to need this for the next part. And let me make sure it's on student paste, because your next slide is the exit ticket on slide 15 and 16. You need to complete both of those slides. So here's slide 15. You're going to complete the table first. In slide 16, there's 2 things. You got to find the ratio that used to create the table, also known as the value. And then you're going to come up with our 2 equations talking about nails and shelves. So you're going to need words for those. You can use N or S. I'll let you get started on that. 15 and 16. And let me know in the chat when you're done with the exit ticket so I can grade it and you can have a good weekend afterwards. Also, thank you everybody for following along. And I know that we're over on a Friday, but you guys are amazing. You've been tracking, you've been focused, writing down on every single pair deck. You've been answering questions in the chat. Now we're all on our exit ticket. I have a lot of faith that we're about to get 100% today. So thank you guys. I appreciate you.